Hello, hello. Happy Monday. We got a couple of normies on the stream, and then we got a New Yorker these days. What up, Clemente? How you feeling in your New York apartment?
Feeling like $1,000,000. Didn't have to wake up at 4 like I usually do on the West Coast time. So I feel rested. I went to the gym this morning, got a little workout. I feel good. Feel real good.
Wow. Okay. So you got that Equinox that you've been going to. Big flex right there. How do you like living in Lower East Side? I know we got a Lower East Side native in the audience, Steve LES, representing for Lower East Side all the time. How you liking it so far, Clemente?
Great food. A lot of people though. That's the only problem. And
It's a problem.
yeah, it's a lot. The downside is the bars also close at 4 versus 2 a.m. in Seattle. So yeah, not used to being out that late. I paid $9 for a slice of pizza at 3 a.m. On Saturday night. So not too proud of that one.
Where, Joe's?
I have no idea. Some pizza place down the block.
You think he remembers where he got pizza the other night? He was out at 3 a.m. Dude, like in the Lower East Side. The real question is, does your window face the street or does it face a courtyard?
The street.
And do you have a bedroom window that faces the street?
No. Bedroom is like in the back corner in the darkness.
Well, that's better than my situation with the blinds that are, according to the landlord, 1%. But like, I sent a photo to the guy when it was like with the blinds closed, and it's bright as day inside of my apartment with these quote 1% blinds. I was like, yo, you're supposed to have blackout blinds in there. He's like, well, we think the tenants will like 1%. I'm like, well, your tenant hates it. Like, I'm just letting you know. And if you're and Brian Johnson thinks that you guys should be arrested for this behavior.
Clemente's got a proper Brian Johnson setup. There was a time where I would be like, oh, this bedroom's depressing. But after watching how Brian Johnson approaches sleeping, I went in there. I was like, I think you're good. It's just a room with a bed in it, and it's just pitch black. I think Brian Johnson would approve of
Are there
that,
any windows?
There is a window, but
okay.
It's not sun filled. I don't know what do realtors say, like soak up the sun with the south facing. It's not that. It's like it's a pretty shitty window. No offense, Clemente. Well, look, Clemente's got a better apartment than my friend that has like a big time tech job and makes a bunch of money got for his first year in New York because he went like super duper cheap. So I was like, Clemente, you're killing it, dude. You're like, 23, 24, got your own spot, Lower East Side.
Doxing his age. That's cool. What's his address, Pia?
What do you like? What is that a big deal to mention?
What's the mother's maiden name? The street he grew up on? Just some general questions we have.
Everybody knows how old you are, Nick. Everyone knows that Signal's 23. Like, come on now. Come on. Signal, do you have any tips for Clemente now that he's an urban dweller?
Dude, go. Just let's fucking go. Just do it as hardcore as you can. New York, I think, is probably one of the best cities to live in your 20s. So go all out before you realize that it's going to financially crucify you. But have fun doing it.
And that's one of the worst life decisions that you ever made. Like, stay long enough until you realize this is dumb. Because I'm now I go back and forth of this is awesome and this is dumb. Right now I'm in the this is dumb phase where I'm just like, what I have a beautiful luxury building with stabbings out front. I have, I can get nice food, but I could also buy a farm. Right? Like I could also just own a farm and have an entire staff for my rent. The way that it is, I was at a barbecue on Saturday and this guy was telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm three hours outside of the city and my house costs $79,000. And I was like, $79,000. He's like, yeah, 2 bedrooms. I'm on an acre.
He must be deep, man. An $80,000 crib. That's deep.
Yeah, well, he doesn't live in this country, actually. So it's, no, he lives outside of Albany, which I can't say that I've been desiring to live. Although when I went and looked up land in New York the other day, because I was like, I got to get something here. Like this is, I was feeling the desire to get land. And all the land listings have houses also. So I don't understand. It feels confusing. I'm like, what? isn't that misleading that you have a land listing that has a house on it and now you're selling it for the price of the house? That's a house listing. That's not a land listing.
Yeah.
You got screwed over.
Like,
But,
if you can buy this land, there is a house here, but you can like totally knock that down. You can totally knock it down.
And it's a really nice house. Like the house was really nice. I was actually like, man, I could see myself living in that house. I could have an office right there. I'm like, this is a really nice house. But then I'm like, what the hell is going on? So it's supposed to be a plot of land. Anyways, that's a far tangent from Clemente's Lower East Side living situation.
I don't really know where to put you, Nick, because I feel like with Pio, we all know that he's just gonna one day get on a plane and go to Italy and just like, eat good food. You've already done California, and you don't want to even talk about the place anymore. So I don't really know where to put you in the world if you left New York.
Pio's not going to Italy. He just wants to hate himself more from living in another. Like he's going to go to some other like food. Don't get me wrong, the New York food scene is good, but in terms of produce and things like that, it's not going to be like of the world's highest quality. And I think Pio wants to be in a location where he's just despises his life decisions, so he's never going to end up in Italy.
I think Nick would thrive in like South Dakota, Minnesota, that general area, like
Nebraska.
Nebraska, west side of the Great Lakes. Yeah,
tilling my own land would be an ideal location, maybe somewhere in some Oklahoma. And I could have a corn farm because I really value corn. And
I can see that, man. I picture you as a farm boy. Fun fact, Clemente told me that he moved into an apartment that's a few blocks away from his ex. Nick, what do you think of that?
That was an accident. He also knew where she lived still. Like she lives in New York. If she's young, she moved in the past 12 months. Like no one lives in a New York apartment longer than.
So now we're
like
circling back. What is the mother's maiden name, the street address, the first grade teacher you had? Just some general questions.
But hold on. So does your ex know that you moved back to that you moved to New York?
Yeah. Yep.
So you're talking with her?
No, I'm not talking with her. I'm not.
But how does she know?
Her friend was like, dude, she told me you are moving just a couple blocks away from her. I'm like, I didn't even tell her I moved. One of her friends told her I was moving. And
you know what she's thinking, right?
That you're stalking her. You're definitely stalking her.
She's thinking you're in love with her.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to prove to her that you are?
I don't want to talk about this.
Talk about it. Talk about it. What's her name?
I'm not doing this.
So, but at least for one night, you're going to tell her that you love her, right?
Yeah. I mean, at 3 a.m., hair the dog. You never know what happens from there.
Were you feeling any urge or desire to on Saturday night when you knew that you were nearby? Did it cross your mind at all?
That
That sounds like yes.
That's a big yes. That's a big yes. You're gonna bump into her.
It's 3 a.m. It's no, I hope I don't run into her.
Or were there other girls that you were with at 3 a.m. at that point? 3 a.m. typically, I feel like maybe, but probably not. Like you're usually by 3 a.m. you're just disappointed.
Let's be real. Let's be real. 3 a.m. Like, were you with a bunch of girls, Clemente, or was it 3 a.m. you and like males?
It was slim pickings, to say the least.
Look at that. Okay, well, we'll work on that, Clemente. We're gonna work on that.
Well, he made it. He made it back to his apartment at least. Or actually, I don't know. Did you make it back to your apartment? Was it your apartment that you resided in?
I did. Made it back. Because Pio was like, dude, I'm gonna drop off your audio equipment at like 9 a.m. the next day. So I'm like, dude, I gotta get to bed. I gotta rest up. I can't have Pio seeing me like this. So I had to get back to my place and get ready for the morning.
Well, Clemente irrationally thought that I'm so unreasonable that I had an expectation of meeting up at 9 a.m. on a Sunday to.
You did message me at like 8:30 in the morning on Sunday, and you're like, "Yo, bro, can I come over to get that mic arm?" And I'm like, "Is he messaging me this at 8:30? Like, what happened? Like, were you up for 3 hours at that point?" And then you're like, "It's Sunday, dude. It's unacceptable to message anybody that that's well, one of the Lord's days, depending on which religion you are. But
well, I would never do it to you on Shabbat. Like, come on now. I got a little more sense than that.
Well, on Sunday I got to go to Sunday services and wake up and do a little bit of prayer. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what
you practice several religions. You got a bunch of holy days.
Just so you know, Jews go to synagogue on Sunday also. Okay.
Oh, my bad. No, I mean, look, I don't have
an service though.
I didn't have an unreasonable expectation of Clemente being up at 9, but I was impressed that he texted me at like 9:30 because I figured he would be sleeping till like 11. But no, we met up at a normal time. We went to a little restaurant. It was very nice. Got some vegetarian food, which it was unexpected for me, but it was still pretty good. No fake food. It was just all real food, vegetables, things like that. Anyway, today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to discuss the DeGods Season 3 downgrade, and if the hype...
I can't wait.
And if the hype NFT trend is finally dead, we're also going to talk about Jack Butcher's Opepen Pudgy Penguin drop, and if Coinbase's on-chain summer is truly onboarding the masses. I'm going to go ahead and spoil that one. It's not. But anyway, let's get right into the weather report. Signal, please take it away.
Yeah, morning, guys. It is Monday, the 14th of August, last month of summer. Let's get into this. Total market volume at 13.1 million. Blur in the single digits at 9, while OpenSea down at 2.4. Onto leaders, Apes are pulled back to around 28.8. You got Mutants at 5.8. Punctures hovering just under 50 at 48.9, while DeGods at 6.5. Azuki and Captains 4.9, and Pudgy's holding the 4 ETH wall. Over the weekend, well, DeGods, we're talking about it. They announced Downgrade. This is going to be an opportunity for holders to update their DeGod art for 333 Dust. Now the art is more focused on simplicity, minimalism, and fun, as they would describe it. And the post-community feedback is female DeGods will be postponed, and the points parlor kicks off today. DeGods is down about 30% on the 7-day. Over in the proof corner, well, Grail Season 4 lineup has revealed. It was a host of top names from across the space, including Jack Butcher, Rupee Rainisto, and Basic. Top sales included 15 ETH on collections such as Lines of Division from Artist Basic and 3 sales for Epiphany by Jack Butcher. Over on PFPs, after a short hiatus, Artist Ferocious is back with details on the new 20K PFP collection. It's going to be launching late September. It's going to be a multi-day running from the 25th to the 29th, and it starts off with paint holders being airdropped FIWO PFPs, and then it ends with the general public sale. FIWO paint right now is around 0.28. And then lastly, Jack Butcher has announced the Opepen Set 11 is going to be a collab between Pudgy Penguins and Opepen. This is the first PFP collab, and the collection was heavily oversubscribed. Unrevealed Opepen still doing incredibly well. They're up 20% on the week after hitting a nice local top of 0.7 on Friday. Onto crypto, things are looking pretty steady there. So it's back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report. As usual, Signal, some updates from the Nifty Daily Digest. Subscribe at thenifty.com. We covered 2 of the stories already, but the other 2 are that Cosimo de Medici and DK's collaborative base chain open edition has wrapped up, and it received approximately 71,500 total mints, over 27,000 unique holders. So big success for DK and Medici Group, and I guess just the collaboration with Coinbase. So very cool stuff. Last story, the Kid Called Beast NFT collection announced that co-founder Crad has stepped down to pursue AI and emerging tech opportunities less than 24 hours after his wallet was allegedly hacked. Interesting timing there. Nick, you're smiling.
Well, his name's Crad. Dude, Crad is the opposite of a Chad. Okay, so that's like the first thing you want to think of when you understand the name. And but in all honesty, he was hacked and then he quit right after. That seems like
exactly.
What's up with that timing?
It's what you're supposed to do, Nick.
Well, there was an event in between. He actually also raised like 90 grand from the community after getting hacked, and then he quit.
What do you mean raise 90 grand from the community?
Like the community donated to him. He did a GoFundMe crypto style to say, "I've been hacked, please help me." Gets the 90K and then quits. Is that correct, Bunny?
It was 50K in crypto, and I believe there was a like 40K in NFTs, if I'm remembering right.
So how much was he hacked for? Like $1 million?
$16,000, I believe.
Yeah.
Wait, so he profited on this hack? He went from
Yep.
16,000 to 90,000
Made a 4x.
and then quit. I mean, dude, none of us deserve to make money, man. Like the NFT space deserves to lose everything. This is what we stand for at this point in time. This is ridiculous. What is this
You
message?
just sound like you're mad you didn't get 90 grand.
Double gloves up. Loyalty is royalty. The people who have your back when you're down bad are the people that truly matter most. That's his tweet. Subsequent tweet. I quit, bitches.
Well, in typical NFT founder fashion, he extracted another 90K on the way out.
On the way out. That's the way you do it.
That's the way to do it. That's the number one most coveted move in the space is just grab a little bit more money on the way. What's that? Let's just get it. Okay. Anyway, so we got the DeGods downgrade. That is live. Clemente put all takes welcome. Thank you for letting me know that anybody is welcome to put their take out there, Clemente. That's a great instruction in this call sheet. The downgrade went live yesterday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Holders could pay 333 dust token, which is roughly $600 US, to change their DeGod art to a simpler, more colorful design. I was not aware of the increase in color. Downgrading your DeGod to season 3 will make you eligible for points parlor. I feel like that's the key. That's the juicy info you got to know, which is a raffle style game that will make you eligible to win various prizes. As of 8 a.m. Eastern time today, 3,234 DeGods have been downgraded to season 3. That's a pretty good conversion percentage, I think, right? Out of 10,000, 32% already in just a couple of days. That's pretty good. $1.1 million of dust has been spent, which is approximately, I guess, or I don't know which number
That's
is
like
right.
$50.
Okay. Clemente put two numbers here. I don't know which one is right. It's either 1.1 million or 2 million. One question is, Nick, what do you, or Clemente, go ahead.
Sorry, it was 1.1 million dust, $2 million.
Okay. 1.1 million dust, $2 million. So a lot of money. That's juicy. Nick, what do you think of the art pivot and downgrade marketing? And what do you say? I don't know if you watched the video. Frank put out a 12-minute video where he's, talking to the camera, and he kind of just talks about a lot of different stuff regarding the drop. He talks about one quote that people are clinging to is that he thinks that the hype era of NFTs is over. I think that goes without saying.
He said that?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, at least he's like self-reflective. I mean, that's a is he saying in that we were trying to follow along with the hype meta, but it turns out that we couldn't do that? Like, what? I don't understand. Like the delivery of that.
No, I don't think that was that wasn't the context. I think that's just a quote in because it's 12 minutes, right? So there's a decent amount of.
I'm gonna have to watch the video to get a full understanding. The reason I mentioned that is it seems like they're at the foundation of the hype era of NFTs, right? Like, because like their collection. Well, Frank has a huge audience. I think really DeGods is really just like heavily Frank as a marketing engine.
Yes.
And so. But I don't understand. Like,
Bunny has his hand raised. Bunny.
I don't know. I think it's like a weird thing to say after you just got finished hyping the ever living shit out of your drop that underwhelmed. No. Like,
okay.
That's all that it was. Yeah. That like, why when I said that were Pio and Easy sort of like, no, they weren't a hype based project. Are we just trying to be?
No, I wasn't. I don't know if
my
my face made that reaction. I think I'm in the same boat as Bunny here. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, you admit that you just hyped the ever-living shit out of this and it didn't hit. Like, I don't know what else to say to that. It just didn't hit. And now you're like, the era of hype and hoodies is dead, which like is interesting because someone on the timeline made that same exact comment and actually got blocked. So like, it's just an interesting cycle. Yeah, I don't know, Nick. I don't think you're wrong.
I think look, they're in a, I guess, tough position, but the bottom line is the DeGods still sell for a pretty penny. They're not like, it's not like they went to zero.
Yeah.
They dropped 30-40%, something like that, from off of the 10 ETH peak. I saw the art thing. I saw some tweets about, there were some funny things about like the color palette tweet about with the PFPs and how they reduced the complexity. And now that as a result of that, you'll get more engagement on the timeline. That was like a funny tweet to me.
You're not sold on that, Nick?
No, it was pretty funny, but it also felt like when Dropbox launched their new web design or their branding, the whole web design community was like, oh, this is trash. Look at this. I can't believe they did this. There's so many things that they broke. Then that became the standard of web design is what happened during that time. And usually that's kind of like how things evolve over time. So as it applies to like NFT styles, I actually don't take any issue with what they did there. I actually kind of agree with their approach. I'm not a big fan of like DeGods PFPs personally. It's not my thing. But I mean, there's people who are, there's people who make it their PFP. So I don't really care about the art, honestly. Like each person has their own opinion of what, what they like, and you're entitled to that opinion. As it applies to their execution here, I mean, honestly, at this point, they should just get the product out that they were building. Like the point, like that's all that matters in my opinion. And that's what we're focused on, for example. And I think like ultimately it's just like, all right, yeah, like a lot of us were shocked that DeGods was able to literally thrive solely on hype. Like that's what all the price action was coming from before. It was literally hype and anticipation. And the reality is there was no way that the collection was going to live up to that hype. We said it on the show. We were like, sell the rumor when it comes to DeGods. And that turned out to be the case. That was accurate. And I think it's going to recalibrate at this point in time. But like you have Kevin DeGods, or whether you say DeGods or
people
DeGods.
say DeGods, but I'm like, why are we saying it differently in the context of the name? I just call him Kevin DeGods. Yeah.
But anyway, so he has a ton of tech experience. I feel like, okay, cool, just ship product at this point. Like figure out what your places in the market. Maybe we're all doing similar things. Maybe like what Luke is doing with e-commerce. And frankly, they're doing a great job with partnerships. And so I see that sort of thing as kind of the path for a lot of us in the NFT space. And so, yeah, now it's time for them to execute. I don't like more words to me doesn't solve that problem. And so really, it's actually a lot easier to shoot yourself in the foot the more that you talk in a world where like the space is looking for substance is what it sounds like he's saying that the space is moving towards. And now, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. So cool. Just go execute, continue moving forward. I mean, he doesn't quit. So like, I'm bullish from that standpoint. Like, I don't think that Frank's suddenly like disappearing. I don't think he's going to pull a Kid Called Beast move, which I mean was a scam anyways from the beginning. But like now it's just like materializing. They're doing the smart thing, which is a gradual rug. First, one co-founder disappears to go focus on AI. Like, I don't understand what that transition is like. Yeah, is that like suddenly?
That's why you're never going to make it.
That
in
transition
AI.
was cool 3 months ago. You're already late on that bandwagon, you know.
Ryan
like,
Carson already did it.
He led that.
And
Dude,
Carson
everyone
couldn't
was
even
hating
extract
Carson at that moment.
He couldn't even extract money on the way out, man. Come on now.
What I mean, that was the transit. That was a failed transition, basically. Like he didn't get any money out of it. He had a huge community that was ready to give him money. He didn't take the money. He instead just shut it down. It took it as a loss. I mean, that he did it the wrong way. Like that was the bottom line. he could have actually been another Pico top, you know, like he could have been another like Meta, and that would have been instead he just didn't like transition out properly. But I mean, the problem, if there's one problem with Frank, is that he's got to sit here and keep working like the rest of us suckers. Like, that's like the real issue. He's like, I think coming to terms with. It's like, oh shit. Like, people actually expect us to do something.
We need to build this for
now
years.
I got to work with like the 3 other people in this space that are actually doing that. You got Yuga. You got Frank. You got Pudgy Penguins. I feel like we're actually doing something in the space. I know. I know that
Farouk's doing stuff.
Farouk's out. Like, we're on calls with him, so we know that he's actively doing things. I'm not sure who else is doing stuff. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I feel like we have a show about NFTs, like it's this broad ecosystem, but really, it's
let's talk about 6 businesses. We have a show that talks about 6 businesses. Want to listen to it? Is that interesting to you? What I will say is that undoubtedly, I think Nick kind of touched upon this point. Undoubtedly, the DeGods situation is infinitely better than, like, say, Azuki.
People are coming out of the woodwork to mention the projects that are doing Creeps. Okay, it does turn out that they're doing something. We got Jack Butcher doing Opepen. Okay.
Well, that's an artist. That's an artist, though.
He's a little hybrid. He's staying relevant. That's what I'll say. And people keep buying his stuff. So that's important. I don't know if anything else is really, like, if anybody's doing anything.
There's plenty of artists. Like, Jack Butcher's an artist. There's plenty of artists that are doing. I mean, look at what DK just did with Medici Group. There's artists that are successful. That's different than startups. And when you talk about startups, there's like, Meme Land. Forgot Meme Land. Sure, On-Chain Monkey. Cool.
I said Yuga, right?
Yeah, you said yes. You said Yuga.
That would have been
not doing anything.
Big miss if I didn't take the opportunity there. Is that mint still active?
Which one?
The
Rec League?
Rec League.
So whitelist or allow list closes tomorrow. They removed the social security number requirement for it. So if you haven't done that, go do that. And they just announced all the mechanics. So it's a 1-week blank reveal. Everybody's NFT is the exact same. The following week, you find out what rarity of your box is. 2 weeks later, you get you can open them. So they've just announced all the mechanics for it. That's about all we got so far.
Are you buying it?
Yeah. I want to play the game. Like, plain and simple, I want to play the game. So I'm excited for that personally, and I'm curious to see how it does. Enway's already done a damn good job with the gaming side of things, especially on mobile. And I think that this could be something relatively fun where it's like a multi-part system. I think there's going to be a ton of NFTs. Like, I'm not looking to flip this, so I'm hoping the mint's not like crazy expensive. I think they outlined how much it is. Yeah, 158. So it's not crazy.
300
like,
bucks.
Yeah, not like barely $300. I'm sure if you wait until mint date, that'll be back to like 210, you know?
I still need to put on a driver's license though, right?
Yes, or passport.
Okay.
But you still, do you hold any Yuga assets still? You're mutant?
I own a mutant, and I own the heavy metal, and I own some land.
Nice.
I got
so
a
the
nice.
mutant will get you another mint without KYC.
Oh, so I'm just good to go?
Yeah. Coda is the primary one for this. Mutants, apes, and dogs all have additional mints.
Mr. Yellow with a funny comment. He said Yuga's got more NFTs than we've given out on our platform, which is pretty funny.
How many NFTs are in the? And actually, I don't think that's true. I think we have
25,000 in Rec League.
No. But how many total do they have? They have 100,000 with
Other Deed.
With Other Deed. That how many heavy metal? Like 25,000.
They have a lot.
There's a good amount. Their challenge is the separation of the OG assets like the apes and the mutants and the dogs versus the game assets. We'll see how it plays out. They have the resources to create something significant. Real quick, I just want to finish. And also, people are like DMing me out of the woodwork, obviously, with different projects, but I did see one that we forgot. Can Pie Pandas, for sure, is like an active startup in the space. I'm sure that, not many people would say the word startup because it's a dirty word.
I just got the DM from for ice bags from Pandas.
Yeah. But I mean, it obviously it's worth mentioning without question. What I was going to say is the DeGods situation to me is excuse me, infinitely better than the Azuki situation. Because I think people view it as like it could have gone significantly better, but I don't
This
think
didn't take any money out of the space.
Yeah.
There was zero cost for this. DeGods yield dust. You spend the dust. The only people who had to buy dust were net new participants, and they've already said they're not market selling that dust, but using it for more prizes and points parlor. So to me, I was like, this wasn't even close to the Azuki thing, in which they raised $40 million on a hype and speculative FOMO cycle that was literally designed.
And there was no dilution, right? So
zero dilution.
And they've handled the art communication much better than the, I think. Like Azuki team were just quiet for quite a long time. It didn't feel like they had a sort of a rapid response to what the community's feelings were. And I think Frank and the team have done a much better job than Azuki. Like the art thing on the females, and just like, well, we're just going to give up. You know, females are hard to do, so we're just going to give up. It's interesting because getting female art right in PFPs, I think, is extremely difficult. And I mean, I do not represent all the women when I say this, right? But it's just so many of them are just like, the women are always hypersexualized. Always. It's always like this kind of manga, big boobs, tiny waist, like an AI kind of model.
We agree on something here.
We do.
It's always like breasts in your face, and you're just like, what?
In your face, and I'm like, look, I'm sure there's lots of girls out there who like those kind of avatars. Hence why I'm saying I do not represent the majority.
Well, they aspire to have breasts like the
or they aspire to have breasts, so you don't need to actually pay for them for your surgery. But I think like that's one of the reasons. It's because when people do female PFPs, they just tend to like exaggerate them so much in one direction, or they try to be too diverse and like represent how women actually look in the world, which is again what we don't want. So I agree, pulling the female art was a good idea, and then just like going back to the board and trying to figure out what would work. In the 12-minute video, though, there was a couple of things that really stood out, and one was that they have realized that IRL. Okay,
Clemente's circling the breast of the female
highlighting the side boob of the PFP on the video.
Frank was saying that they have realized that one of their core tenets is going to be IRL experiences, and it's interesting because we've been starting to see that from a lot of other projects that they're tapping into local community growth. So rather than trying to do everything from a centralized place, try and empower these mini communities across different parts of the earth, so that when you're a Ute holder, a DeGod holder, and you turn up in another location, you can meet other people. And then online, you have a network effect where if you want to meet someone who is an accountant, a CEO, or doing business, that you have that community reach. So those were the two things that really stood out. And I just hope that they can execute on this vision, because he said there's one sentence that really stood out, and he said in a next PFP hype cycle, the projects and collections which will be gravitated towards you by the normies will be the ones that just make sense. And I completely agree with that. If I'm paying $13,000 for a DeGod, and I understand it's because I get X, Y, Z, and one of them is like IRL connections in my city, that just totally makes sense, and I'll be much more willing to pay for that rather than paying for maybe another PFP collection where you don't quite understand what the offering is, apart from hype, merch, and something else like gaming, which they haven't quite got right because that's not their core tenant. It's definitely a video worth watching. Frank did well on that.
Yeah, well, look, a couple things here. So first of all, you mentioned Azuki, and you said that you think that the messaging out of DeGods is better than the messaging out of Azuki. There's never been verbal messaging out of Azuki ever, like in the history of Azuki, until like with the exception of a few small Discord calls. It's only been Twitter and like on the website. Like if you go to the Azuki website, it says being built by the community, and I'm like, no, it's not. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, people like use these buzzwords. It's like, what do you mean it's being built by the community? No, it's not. But I'm just pointing out, like, Frank is a verbal communicator. That's the history of Frank started with him being on Twitter Spaces and impressing everybody, and it's only continued that way. So of course,
real quick, a couple, one project that I missed was Pixel Vault is actually releasing a game.
Yep.
So that good on them. The other thing, Jake Goulet has in the comments here, one of the most iconic projects since the launch of NFTs is Journey Club. Journey Crypto's really been hard at work doing heavy releases after he made tens of millions of dollars. We've been getting updates just on the regular. A lot of the commenters always talking about how awesome Journey Crypto is. He hasn't posted a YouTube video for 8 months. He's basically just been on vacation, and he tweets like every few months just to let you know, not a full rug. It's not a full rug. I'm still here doing things. All the utility that Journey Crypto's been delivering has just been incredible.
So Nick just given Journey Crypto some well-deserved strays after raising $50+ million and never doing anything. But real quick, what Signal said is like, you know, she pointed out that Frank said it's going to make sense. And I think what really needs to be said is, and this is actually in line with what some of the commenters were saying, people were saying, like commenting on what we said about the hype cycle of NFTs and stuff like this, is that all this stuff in this space is not going to look the same like next time around. It's just going to look completely different, because when we say the hype cycle is done, think about it. Most of these projects, these collections were built on hype, and the hype was really significant in the sense that NFTs went so mainstream that most people like know what they are. Like people know what an NFT is. They aren't interested in buying one, but if you just go on the street and say the word NFT, people know about it. Like the biggest podcast in the world would say NFTs. Logan Paul dropped an NFT. It was mainstream for a very short period of time. And it's really hard for anything to get that mainstream. And you can only like have that explosion once. So these things aren't going anywhere. Like businesses in the NFT space itself, existing NFTs, they're not going anywhere. But all this stuff is going to be way different. And if you think about the previous altcoin cycle, I remember, Nick, do you remember when we did the show with Elio Trades and he brought up an altcoin he bought that was going to integrate with the airlines? And he said that they were like, they're not going to be able to fly the planes without this thing. You know what I mean? It's like when you hear stories like that from like 2017, 2018, that's when it starts to make sense. It's like, okay, obviously that didn't work, but Solana came out. You know, there's altcoins like Solana, Avalanche, Optimism, right? We don't need to fly the planes with them, but they exist.
The ICO days were, I mean, that was the best content. I used to do videos about it because the ICO videos were just that good. Where like there was one company that had a shooting range inside, like a gun range, indoor gun range inside of their office. And I was like, who thought that this was a good idea? Like, this is so ridiculous. They had race car simulators and they had a gun range in there. And they were like, you're going to want to get in on this ICO. Who like leads with the money?
I want to get in on that now. That sounds pretty cool.
Real quick, I did just go and look though. Journey Crypto did launch a gallery for NFTs in Las Vegas. So it actually, he is releasing some things. I had not even seen this. So I need to do some research associated with this.
He's got enough money to do that for sure. I mean, look, if we had a $40 million raise off an NFT, we'd have gun ranges and offices and shit. That looks pretty cool. I would do exactly that if I, had that much revenue from drops. I mean, you got to deploy some of that capital to offset taxes, right, Nick?
Well, he raised the money a while ago, so I don't think that right now that's a tax situation. He's not making money at this moment from NFTs, as far as I'm aware. But they're working on a PFP. What's interesting is we got our PFP out before they did, and they have like $40 million. So I wonder what that I don't understand what that's about. But they did a whole tweet thread about the PFP on August 1st. Clearly there's an active community though, and they're actually doing something. And I think maybe my fading him was solely about the fact that he hasn't done a YouTube video in 8 months, but maybe that's because he's been so busy on the business. I have no idea.
We'll see. Well, I want to shout out one token. The karate combat business is quite interesting to me. Obviously, I'm an MMA fan, so it's kind of like it speaks to the niche that I'm interested in. But they started this league where it's just a variation of MMA, right? It's karate, so it's just a different striking style, but it's like a real sanctioned fights. And there's a karate token, and I believe it gets yielded actually from Kanpai Pandas, if I'm not mistaken. I think Easy would know and could correct me if I'm wrong there.
I believe it. Well, there's like certain ways they get it. They get points as well, but the token is yielded through like another gamified mean for those. And then obviously like they try to create some level of gambling with it for the karate combat, so you can actually place bets on karate combat. Karate combat has the Kanpai logos all over the background of it. So their venues have 3D screens. Dude, I'm a huge fan of this. I think it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and I bring it up more on the karate combat side in the sense that they started a business. It started by Wall Street guys, I guess, and they did it where they gave themselves a 3-year runway to not be profitable. And I think we're still probably in year 1. The fighters get bonus pay based on the token. Like Easy said, you can place bets with the token. This is a token integrated with a real, martial arts promotion business, right? So like that sounds good to me, and that's a cool application of the crypto technology. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I'm interested in seeing where it goes and how it plays out. So look, it takes a while for this stuff to get figured out. Nick,
we need to buy like 6 fighters, just own them, like because people are out buying teams, but it turns out you can buy fighters for way cheaper for as cheap as like a retail employee basically these days. So like you can and they'll beat the shit out of somebody for you. Like that to me,
dude, just throw a Bodogo's logo on their shorts. We're good to go. Imagine getting them kicked in the face by a dog logo.
Well, I don't know.
Smack you in the face.
I don't know if you know, Easy. Our YouTube channel is now literally just PO talking about people,
guys on steroids. I know. It's crazy.
Just who's natty and who isn't. That's literally the new channel, and it does really well.
Honestly,
pull up the views.
We got to change up the name. Screw the NFT Morning Show as the name. We're calling it Natty or Not. That's the new name. That's the new name of the channel. Natty or Not. We're just going to go through a list every day and talk who's natty, who's not, and see where it hits.
This is a clip about Conor McGregor being shredded. Are you like editing it live on air?
Don't edit it, Clemente. You're gonna mess it up. Look, ladies and gentlemen, some quick context. Clemente just has our YouTube channel pulled up. Go to the overall channel, Clemente, just real quick, and then we're gonna move on. But yeah,
you're showing all the analytics. All right.
Our NFT YouTube channel has 883,000 views in the past 48 hours. It's getting like 25,000 views an hour. And the content that is running are the 2 main videos right now are me pointing out that Conor McGregor is on steroids and me pointing out that Jeff Bezos, the former CEO of Amazon, now the CEO of Blue Origin, is on steroids. 96,000 views in the past 48 hours.
You crushed it. We've made $3 from that, dude.
If there's one thing I'm sure about, it's that the audience of this show does not care about this information. So we're going to move on. The whole NFT space, you post about content creation and people are like, you have no idea how much we don't care. We don't want to do anything. We don't want to work. We want to press a button and buy something, then do nothing. The price goes up.
Smoke
press a button
weed and
again.
buy pictures, baby. That's all we want to do.
And talk about it again. That's it. Talk about how much money you made.
Dude,
anyway,
I tried becoming a pothead, by the way, and it's not pleasurable. Okay, I used it when I was younger. When I was younger, I thought it was cool. Remember how I said I had this drink the other week that had weed in it? So that day I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna do this more often. And so I bought these cans. The brand is literally called
THC infused drinks.
So then I go to see my sister yesterday, and we're sitting there, and I'm telling her that me and my girlfriend have become potheads, and that's like the new thing that we're doing. And so I tried doing that recently. By the way, like it's when I say potheads, it's called like me doing microdosed amounts yet because I'm so sensitive, feeling like I'm stoned out of my mind on like the most minimal amount of pot. But my sister's like, oh, I got those too. And like, she literally did the same thing and had just bought some of these gummies that are apparently low dose 1.5 milligram THC things. But the bottom line is, I tried it a couple times and I was just like, I don't know. I like feel it the next day. Not as bad as like a hangover or something like that, but it's just not, I don't know. I feel like I'm not good as a pothead anymore. You know, it's just a real struggle.
Well, Nick, first of all, thank you.
I used to be a good pothead. Like I used to be good at it.
Well, like the audience just thinks this is pretty good. I mean, the idea of Nick trying to become a pothead is very fun and interesting.
I'm like working on it. I got these things.
Slowly,
I got these mints, basically. Whatever these things.
You're showing marijuana infused edibles on like YouTube's just taking us down as we speak, man. You're a you know, come on, man. You're living on the edge.
This one's only 1 milligram, and it got me like really high. I was feeling very high from it, you know?
Okay. Anyway, look, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about Jack Butcher and Opepen. Signal, we know that you know about this gentleman. We also have a little context here that basically on Friday, Jack Butcher announced that the 11th Opepen set would feature collaborative art with Pudgy Penguins. We showed that on the screen before. Signal, any other context you want to give on the current state of affairs with the Jack Butcher ecosystem?
Yes, this must be like this is set number 11, and this is the first ever PFP collab that he's done along the way. If you remember, you obviously had the Genesis, and then he's had some sort of standout collections, like when Apple did the headsets, he had the VR goggles. Yeah, he's done collabs with Bats, one of the artists. So when you're looking at these Pudgy Opepens, they've also got callbacks to previous sets, which he's done, which I thought was a really nice touch. This one was also heavily subscribed, heavily subscribed, and I love this model that he does with his holders to get people to opt in. And there's a minimum threshold of, I believe, like 2,000%, and this was close to like 10,000% opted in. So now, actually, no, sorry, we're seeing for number one. So for edition number one, it was over 14,000% opted in. And I think this one's going to do really well. It's a perfect marriage, Pudgies and Opepen, and the original unrevealed Opepens as well hit a local top of 0.7 on the weekend. I just think this is a really interesting project, like considering how big the original collection is and how he's subdividing this into smaller sets. It's done incredibly well in the market to hold this sort of 0.6 floor. Pretty much throughout the year. It pulled back at one point down to around 0.3, but it's gone back up to 0.6. And Jack is just proving that he's one of the people to just sort of keep an eye on for the next 6 to 12 months. I like it. It's kind of like, you know, sits in its own corner, you know, gets its highs sometime when you see brands like Magic Eden, OpenSea changing changing their logos to Opepens. But I just like this sort of 0.6 range where people think nothing's really going to happen, and you just have to, it's like a slow bake. Just let Jack do his thing. This is why it's one of my favorite projects. I think it has the sprinklings of the right ingredients for a potential project to be much bigger in the future. So I'm really happy with it, and I love this Pudgy collab.
Unrelated subject, and I saw a comment there. Can we start selling weed? Like, is that something we could start doing for Bodogos? Could we do some of these mints? And like, I used to sell drugs. I still do, you know, I got to pay the bills somehow, you know, but I just thought maybe that would be interesting. Maybe we could do that. Sorry. I appreciate the commentary there on Opepen signal.
Thanks for undermining me, Nick, and just completely changing the subject onto dealing weed. Clemente, can you take the reins so we can stay off NFTs and off drug dealing?
In Europe, it's illegal to deal drugs, so Signal can't be snitching on herself. We know that Signal's just, you know, running a shop over there.
Cough, cough. Where are you going for Breakpoint?
Amsterdam.
Are you going there, Signal?
To be discussed.
We gotta get together and smoke some of that dank nasty.
Yeah,
some of that sticky icky. We're gonna have. Actually, no. I'd be high as shit if I even like smoked a little of it. I don't think I can like
that dank nasty.
I feel like
sticky icky. I'm just uncomfortable, man. That's some shit a narc would say. Like you're wearing a bulletproof vest underneath the t-shirt, and you're like, And you
No,
guys
it's because
got any
I'm
of that
41
marijuana?
easy, and apparently that they use new terms nowadays. Okay, so that's the situation. But I'm just speaking Snoop Dogg's lingo while you're speaking some rapper who can't even speak English. Like I don't know.
Nick, you got to use Zaza.
What is Zaza?
Nick, listen to Bunny. He smokes a lot of weed.
What is
Zaza's
Zaza?
weed. It's good weed.
So why Bunny knows all the kids' terms because he like loves Logan and Jake Paul and like all the YouTube generation. So wait, is Zaza actually like a hot term to refer to dank weed, Bunny?
Yeah, that's the term.
The Zaza. Wow.
And we use the devil's lettuce though.
Come on. That's an old one. Okay. Is Coinbase onboarding the masses? And we're supposed to throw it.
Next question.
You mean the random person at the coffee shop isn't like, are you on base? Like, dude, what are we doing here?
Is that a new drug?
I mean, easy. I'm supposed to throw to you. Clemente seems to think that you're the expert on onboarding the masses through Coinbase. What are we thinking?
Oh, I mean, dude, I don't know. I think base is interesting. I think that for an L2, like I had someone post on Twitter. I saw a post someone was like, how do I get exposure to base? And I think the easiest way is just buying Ethereum. Like they didn't overcomplicate an L2. You just bridge ETH and you use ETH on base. There's not some sub like token for it. But like that's probably my bigger L2 bet. They'd have a partnership with Coca-Cola. Pixelmon's launching on there. Photo Finish from Solana's launching on there. There's a bunch of stuff that I'm actually excited for on base. And I just think like fading a Coinbase blockchain is kind of crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so I feel more comfortable.
Don't you think the best way to get exposure to base is by buying Bunny shares on frentech?
All right. Well, we can dive into the frentech conversation. But last I checked, your shares were literally underwater. Like I looked, I've never seen a person get floored as quickly as Bunny shares. Like I saw them, they were like 0.01. Those things speed ran to 0.001. Like that was disrespectful, dude. I personally, if that was me, I wouldn't take it.
What is frentech?
I want to talk about frentech. It's actually
big
one of the
clout.
Yeah, it's one of the more interesting things we can talk about, Nick. So someone can buy NFT Nick shares, right? All Nick shares, right? And they can basically speculate on the value of your shares just as an individual. When I look through this crowd and I look at who's listening on the Twitter show, I see a lot of people that I'm going to short. Let me tell you that. I'm not going to name names, but I'm looking at a lot of people and I'm buying put options on those individuals. I will tell you that right now.
If you're listening to this show, you should be shorted, you know? Like, what the hell are you doing?
We're like a week late on frentech, though, I will say. The other thing, I never dove into the app because it does not have an actual mobile app. You have to get it from like a web browser, save it to your home screen, and then connect your Twitter and give it tweet and retweet access, which like I'm usually against just because like I don't want some random platform being able to tweet and like do all that shit.
But Kobe did it.
Yeah, but
Kobe did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kobe did it. He's got a lot more followers and a lot more to lose than me. So I figure, who the hell am I to say no to free money? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got
like 1.2.
Wow, that's 1.2 Ethereum for a share of Kobe.
Yeah, he's like 1.2. This guy Racer is like 1.1, I think, or 1. And then there's a ton in like the half ETH range. And then Bunny at 0.0002.
So Bunny is actually a purchasable asset on frentech right now. I can just buy Bunny.
And be a lot of utility coming.
Like what? You're gonna blow smoke in my face?
No, the shareholders chat has seen the sneak peeks. Like
Wait, it's called shareholder chats?
Yeah, so the only way that you can message the founder. The only way you can message the founder is if you own shares of it. And then they put you in a group chat with that person. So you have to own their shares to be able to interact with them. Some people are now using it for alpha chats and all this other shit. Bunny, though, he leaked a little bit of the utility. I will say, that Bunny frentech utility, man, just wait. You haven't seen hype like this in a long time.
What's he going to do? What's he going to rub your shoulders?
Don't ask.
Break the fucking internet.
Pio's just a hater, man. I'm on Team Bunny with this one. Okay, Bunny, if I've come full circle, not even full circle. That'd be a half circle. That'd be a 180 from my original stance of who the hell is this guy. At least I know who Bunny is now. You know. So
He's like, I'd smoke a heater with you. He's like, come out to New Jersey. We can smoke some cigarettes. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's funny that, there's north of 1 ETH people on frentech. Also, I feel like this is making Nick's gears turn. Are you about to be all in on frentech, just trying to pump the price of the Nick token?
no. Nope.
You get 5% of every buy and sale of you.
Yeah, you're gonna want to buy my token actually. So,
So Hasaka, in the first 3 hours he was on the app, he made 16 ETH.
how much did you make?
I made like 0.1.
That's pretty funny.
For doing nothing and offering nothing to the world. That's a pretty good ROI.
Tommy DeAndrage said Bunny giveaway meetup in Union Square. He's thinking that Bunny is going to have another.
Or
he's
going
to start a riot here. I'm looking in the crowd.
I'll show up, Bunny.
I see Jonah Blake in the crowd. I'm shorting his shares. You know what I'm talking about, Nick?
No.
My son is giving Jonah a hard time. So I was like, who am I comfortable calling
Just
out
kidding.
by
I've been
name?
shorting the shit out of that guy. You're like, you know who I'm gonna start shorting? Frank. Frank's getting shorted. I'm shorting Luca Nets. That guy's getting shorted. I'm shorting Farouk. Shorting him.
The price is plunging. Well, frentech is fun to talk about, though. That's
I
for
can't
sure.
access the damn thing because it doesn't work on desktop. I guess I could switch my there is a tool.
No, there's now a trading platform that you can access frentech with where you don't need to download the app. You can just trade shares.
Okay.
I'll find the link and send it to you if you want to get crazy. I'm actively shorting Bunny on 0 data expiration put options.
I like it. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for today. It is Monday. We'll be back tomorrow. If
it feels like I was waiting for the clock to strike 10. We're good enough. We're good enough. There's literally nothing to discuss here. Someone asked for the free NFT. For real though, when is the free NFT? We've gone a long time here, Pio. What happened to those?
It's been a couple days. Come on, they can survive without a free
Remember,
NFT.
Pio's like, we will never go another day without a free NFT. I will make sure of that. That was a promise that Pio made. What's going on?
There's free NFTs coming. Get them out of the packs. No. We'll get free NFTs going. We got some that are on deck. I just told Clemente, take a day. Relax for a minute with the free NFTs. They'll be back.
When was the last time we did a free NFT?
Like Tuesday or Wednesday last week. Clemente, you probably know.
Wednesday.
It's not that bad. They can survive 3 business days without a free NFT.
Yeah, no one uses our site anymore, so that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're going to roll it out in a way that the hype cycle is going to come from our free NFTs because that's how you're supposed to do NFTs. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the show happens Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, each and every weekday. It's available on Apple and Spotify podcasts, available on YouTube if you want to watch the video feed of the show. Anyway, that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you subscribe across all platforms. Check out the Nifty